All right, well, thanks everybody for attending. It looks like people are still joining. We had about 50 pre-registered. We're up to about 28. So let me wait about another minute or so because people are still jumping on. Well, what we'll do is we'll go into a little bit about the hardware features of our panels. We'll show our EasyWrite software. Then we can show a little bit on the back end. We'll open up for questions at the end, either via chat, probably via chat, and someone will read out the questions. So let me go ahead and get started here. I'll start talking about the hardware. Tommy, I don't know if you can talk or not, but I might have you do the EasyWrite 6 piece. If you can talk. Okay. So let me go into the hardware first, and I'll do this via standing up in front of the panel, and then I will share my screen so you'll be able to see the panel easier. But this is what it'll look like when students walk into the classroom. So there's three options they have really. They can either click EasyWrite, which will bring up our whiteboarding software, which I'm going to do again in a second. They can log in. You can either use a QR code reader from your phone. You can type in the username and password, which people may be able to see, so that's not ideal. Or you can use an NFC card if you have the RP series. We have 3 series, the RP, the RM, and the RE. And I'll talk a little bit about the differences there. And then the third option they have is to connect. They can connect wirelessly or hardwired, but they can't get into the panel. They can't change any settings. They can't change the language on you. They can't see your files. So we've designed this with safety, security, and simplicity in mind. So that's one of the security features is the login. As far as the safety, it's got a 9-inch hardness on the panel. All right, so you got now I think you can see it. All right, so 9-inch hardness on the panel. We have a low blue light mode, which will let you lower the blue light, which is good for your eyes because the blue light travels further to your retina and can lead to age-related macular degeneration. A couple months since we've done the webinar, so all right, so 9-inch hardness on the screen. These were the 3 choices you had. If you take your pen here, you can just hold the pen up to the NFC card reader and it brings you into our whiteboarding software, or you could just hit EasyWrite. So I'll just use the pen to tell you a little bit about the panel. We've got 8 noise canceling array mics. They're bi-directional. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They're bi-directional, which means you can record over a YouTube video or a movie. Our previous versions, the RPO1, you could either record or be playing sound from a video. So this is a nice advancement we've made between the RPO1 to the RPO2. You'll see up here we've got a US.
Can anyone hear me?
So I talked about the 9-inch hardness. We talked about how easy it is to log in. We talked about the 8 bidirectional microphones that'll let you record over a video. We're talking about the USB-C in the front, the HDMI, and the USB for touch, as well as USB-C, which we'll be using in a little bit. And then there's a USB 3.0. And then we also have, on the side, we have USB and HDMI ports and HDMI out. And our HDMI out will allow you to see everything on the screen, including annotations on an external display of any type. So that's a little bit about the hardware. Anything I'm missing? We also have some sensors here that take the temperature, the air quality, carbon, CO2 level, which if the CO2 level gets over to red, that just means open up a window. It's not like carbon monoxide or anything like that. It's more CO2, which would mean, students may get tired or, not focus as well. So it would just tell you to open up the windows. So I talked about the 3 ways to log in. We're going to use the NFC card, which is set up with this. You can go to any panel in the district. You're not stuck to this panel. It's a big advantage for BenQ over our competitors. When you log in here, it'll log you in. You'll see your name, your headshot, and your background. So at this point, what I'm going to do is mirror my screen so you can see better.
Yes, sir. We can see it now. We can see your cameras.
Okay, great. Okay, yep. So you can pin me on the side if you want to see me. But basically, so I've swiped the NFC card reader. This pulls up our panel. And then from here, you see it pulled up my own white paper, my photo, my ID. If I click on the file manager or the AMS, it'll show that you can also connect to your Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive. So when you swipe that, it also connects you there. You can also connect to a network drive. So if I click on that paper clip, you can see I've got my drive, a shared drive, and I could have a team drive that could be, Mr. Bilkey's 3rd grade math class or something. And if I click on a file within there, I'm opening this file up from the cloud. It's not from my panel, which means nobody else can see. The next person that uses this panel won't have access to it, which is one of our security features. And I'm at home on my network here. Usually it's pulled up by now. Okay. So that's how you could pull up a file. So I can annotate over this a couple ways. One, I can take my finger and I can do a peace sign, and that's going to pull up my floating toolbar. With this floating toolbar, I can move it wherever I want. And then I can pick a color pen, and then I can say, Acer was founded in 1984, and BenQ spun off from Acer in 2001. I actually worked for Acer back then. That's why I've got the gray hairs. We've got over 100,000 employees among 15 companies. We're the #1 DLP brand of projectors, #2 projector worldwide behind Epson. Shout out to my old Epson buddies. I worked for Epson for 12 years before coming here for 5. So that's the overlay with the floating toolbar. Now you see this camera on here. If I click this camera, I can act as a director, and I can pull in what I want to pull in from anything that I can show up on the display, whether that's a web page or something on my computer, anything that can be seen on the computer. And then you'll see there's an easy write button over here. When I click that, it's going to pull that into my Easy Write whiteboarding software. I can resize it, and I can move it, and I can annotate on it. So that's how you bring content in from any source. So I'm not going to save that. Let's go over to, I guess we'll go back to Easy Write. So you've seen how you can pull a file from the Google Drive. I talked about how I can go to any panel in the district and my data follows me along with my profile. Eventually my bookmarks will follow me. Some of the competitors are trying to catch up. Maybe you can have 4 teachers per board. It doesn't give you the flexibility that we have with ours. And the cost on that is 0. So that's included with our panels. Let's go a little bit into the whiteboarding software. So you'll see here we've got a record button, which I also had on the floating toolbar, but I'm going to use this one from Easy Write. And then it's going to ask if I want to use these internal microphones. So I'm going to use the built-in microphones, those 8-array mics on the panel. And now I'll be recording my voice and whatever I show up on the panel. So let's just write a simple word on here. We're going to convert it by clicking on the lasso and circling it, connecting the circle, hitting that pen with 2 dots, and that's going to convert the handwriting to text. Also, I don't know if anybody's great at drawing circles, but I know I'm not. So if I make a circle there, I can convert that circle into or whatever that was into a circle. And I can do it again in another color. I didn't even close the circle, but let's see if it gets it. It does. Now it's got a Venn diagram that I can start working with.
MasterCard.
Yeah, MasterCard. Felix, what's your number? Let me put that in. Just kidding. So let's go to a web page real quick, just to show you that I can go to a web page. It's continuing to record. I'm still in Android though, technically. All right, so let's stop that recording. It's already getting pretty long. All right, so it's going to save it to the internal drive under the users, under my account, BenQ admin. So let's go there. The file directory, internal drive, user, and then BenQ admin, 2019 is me. Today is the 19th.
Yes.
And here's my and whatever I show up on the panel. So I didn't talk about the speakers, but they're by clicking on the lasso and circling it. That's two 16-watt speakers and a 15-watt subwoofer, front facing. So if you're like me, you don't like to hear your voice in the recording, so I'm going to get out of that, but you see how it works. So that's nice for lesson capture. When we had the COVID and schools were closed, we had teachers going in and recording their lessons, posting it to the shared drive. So actually, let me go back here. So this was that file. So if I hold it, I can rename it and I can move it. So then I can move it over to my Google Drive. And then so if I move it, it deletes it from the panel, and then the next teacher won't see it and it won't build up on the panel. Or I could have copied it if I want to keep a copy on the panel and have one on the Google Drive. I could do that. But usually I move it. Or I could just delete it if it's something that I don't need again. So that's kind of how that works for now. I'm going to come back to the cloud whiteboarding because that's kind of a big deal. Let's go over to the pens. So you see three choices here right now. I'm in just the pen mode, which we've got up to 20 points of touch on our panel. You can use your hand as an eraser. If you make a big area, it's a big eraser. If you make a small area, it's a small eraser. I can use this lasso to erase some things. Or I can click here and I can erase all. Go back to the pen again. So I can increase the size here, and we've got multiple colors. But let's make it real small so I can show you the accuracy of this. This says zero bonding, so if you can see how small those dots are. But I actually have to touch the panel for it to pick them up. Very accurate, very small. We've got double the infrared density of our pass panel. And does not pick it up until I touch it. So when I was at Epson doing the Bright Link, if the teacher had a sleeve here or a bracelet on, it would be writing. Or it would pick up their finger or pen way out before you even touch the panel. So much better accuracy. It's the 4K resolution, right nips on ours. Nibs. Let me go to the dual pen now. Where here I can pick on two different color pens, and two students could be writing at the same time in different colors. On these pens, you see my video, I've got a big tip and a small tip for the pen. If I put down the big tip pen, I can use the small tip pen in my finger, and we can do a finger and a pen at the same time. Any questions on that so far? Feel free to ask it in the chat bar. The third option is this paintbrush mode, which what that lets you do, the art teachers love this, calligraphers, but the more pressure I put, the thicker it writes. I believe only BenQ and maybe Smart if anybody else has it. So that's a nice feature. Okay. Let's see, what do we want to do next? Let's go over to the toolbar, the educational toolbar. So here we've got some tools built into the panel. One of them would be a calculator. It does cosine, sines, tangents, that type of thing. But I'm just going to write out a problem: 3 squared plus 2 cubed squared minus 8. And then you give the students a chance to figure it out. I heard Felix say 281 in the background.
281.
He's a math savant, so there we go. But what happens if we square this 8? What does that do to the answer? What if we divide the whole thing by 2?
That's really cool.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting Felix to beat the computer again, or calculator again. And remember, in the record function, it would be recording all those changes too, if I was recording my lesson. This just takes a image again and converts it and exports it. It's just another way of doing it. We've got the stopwatch. Who does not need a stopwatch? One of the first ones at my students or my kids' school was for the PE class. So you could do running laps, you could do swimming laps. They've got a pool. You can do scavenger hunts and keep the scores of the various teams. And I know everybody wants a countdown clock, because when they're given a test, and you've got 10 minutes to take the test, we can have that clock going, and they can still go over to another page, and they could be working on something else where the students are taking a test. And I probably put the time down too much, but then it goes off, and the test is over. So I did that, and each second was a minute, just for time's sake. All right, so the next thing would be sticky notes. We've got sticky notes. You can type in there whatever you want. We can have groups too, so it's going to sort them by color. They could be voting on things or however they want to do it. Okay. You can move them around though if they change their mind or say, hey, this belongs in this group. You can do that. Scoreboard. Let's do something here where we're going to have 3 teams, A, B, and C, and then let's randomly pick some students here. So I'm going to pick 3 students. I've got a small class of 15 people. So I'm going to have 3 students come to the board. This way I'm not picking on any individual students. I could also have this correlate with a question if you don't want to give one person softball questions, or feel like they're all getting a fair shot at the questions. You can do that, spelling bee or something. So student number 14, number 5, and number 12, please come to the board. So I'll have them come up. I've got a split screen here. And with this, they can all write on the board at the same time in different colors, which I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to write out a problem, 2 plus 2. And then I'm going to paste it to all of them. And those 3 students will be up there at the same time, and they'll be answering it. And we've got the genius over here that gets the point. And then if the next team B won the next one, they both get crowns, and then Team Bilkey takes the lead, even though they missed the 2 plus 2. I can save this as 3 separate files or one big file. What this is here is I can import in PDFs or documents into the background. Here we have various backgrounds, so I could do something as simple as a teacher. Let's say some students may have visual disabilities in the back. Maybe they can see this better, or this better. Makes it feel like you're writing on a chalkboard for the teacher that's getting ready to retire and doesn't feel too comfortable with the technology. But if I hit the plus, I can add a page. Let's go. We also have music backgrounds. People seem to like that. So grid paper, and then again, I guess it's football season now, or American football season. And now you'll see all the pages that I've built in my lesson. And if I hold it, I can then drag it down and I can reorder them, or I can delete pages, or I can add pages. So now let's go to the cloud whiteboarding. So this will be, everybody, whoever wants to join will be able to join this one. There's a picture of a person with a plus sign. So I'm going to invite people into my room. So each panel has its own room ID. So you can communicate panel to panel or panel to people outside. So all of you guys aren't on the same network as me, but anybody with a QR code reader can join. If you don't have a QR code reader, you can type in easywrite.benq.com and then this room ID, and you'd be able to join as well. So I'm going to go ahead and join on my phone. So I'll give everybody a little chance to join via this scanning the QR code reader or typing in their name. But now I'm joining, for example.
That's pretty neat. I just joined.
Yep. My internet's slow here today. So I'll let you see what type of delay there is on my network, which is pretty terrible.
Wow, virtually no delay. I can see it here.
Yep, good. So I'm going to clear all that out. Wouldn't it be nice, though, if the remote
input from
people could join in? Would you like to?
Yes.
I trust you. I trust you now, Felix. So I'm going to open it up to you. And I'm going to go to co-creation mode. Actually, everybody that's on the call, I'm trusting right now. So they can bring something in. Let's see. I'm dropping my son off at school on Friday, so I'll throw one of him up there. You can bring in images. Let's see. You can do sticky notes. So there's my son. Gotta click on that. There's my son, John. Got a good pike there, Northern Pike. And you notice when I touch it, you can see who's touching it. So we've got something else in the background. Okay.
Oh, my picture's too big.
Yeah. So if I click on that lasso, I can shrink it down, move it over here. So that's John. But if I click on it on my phone, you can see my name there, so we know who's clicking on it, and we're working to be able to let you see who's writing. So just like people talking in class, if I want to have them still actually better than that, because I can just click this and stop it. I can go to broadcast only mode, and then nobody else can send anything. Only I can, take control of the class back. And then when I stop the activities, everybody that had joined has the option to save this image. So if you go OK, and then you can actually annotate a little bit, make a few more notes on it before you end it. So that's EasyWrite 5. We actually have EasyWrite 6 now as well. So we've got EasyWrite 6 for any of our panels that have Android 8 or greater. Can use EasyWrite 6, which is this. It's new. We're adding backgrounds to it. We're adding things to the toolbox. That, for example, I can take an image here and put it up, resize it. I can duplicate it, delete it if I want. I can move it to the front or the back. There's a text box. So I can add text. I could change the size of the text and the font. But the nice thing about this one would be, let's say I'm writing a problem. and I run out of space, I can resize it, move it over there, extend it. I think it has infinite canvas too, but I've never been good at getting it to move over when I saw somebody else do it. So that's kind of Easy Write 6. It's in the early stages. It's going to have the record feature, the broadcast feature, theoretically, the toolbox, or at least there's a spot for it. So you can also add apps. For example, here's a hard app that I've added just to kind of let you see. There's tons of free apps out there. One of the advantages of the BenQ, oops, let me just do this so I can stop that. One of the advantages of the BenQ is we've got a device management system that we'll show you in a second here, but you can blast apps to every panel in the district if there's an app you like. So for example, this one, I can move it around, make it larger, smaller, that type of thing. If I do the toolbar again, I can hit that camera and I can import this into my Easy Write 6. And then I can annotate from there. So, okay. Let's see. I got anything I'm missing as far as that, Felix?
No, you're pretty much on target.
Okay.
Great job, by the way.
Oh, thanks. So let's go over to, let me plug in and go to Easy Write 6 for Windows. So anybody with Android 8 or better could get that Android version. The ones that have, 6, the older ones, they'll be able to use this. And I could do this wirelessly, but likely go to the source, which it did.
Now,
Okay,
Easy Write 6, there will be 3 versions of it. One is the Android version that will live on the board. There's going to be an Easy Write 6 for Windows that teacher can use to prepare a lesson ahead of time. And then there's also going to be Easy Write 6, the cloud version. The cloud version is interesting because it will allow teachers to gain access to their Google Classroom material. You'll be able to connect to your Google Classroom, as well as if you're using a Mac to teach a lesson, because there will not be a Mac version, but the cloud version will serve that purpose. So Easy Write 6 is going to be phenomenal, and it already is. Actually, it's slowly but surely gaining all the functionality that exists currently on Easy Write 5. And when it finally does, then Easy Write 5 will be phased out in favor of Easy Write 6.
Okay, yes. When I changed the audio, I had to bring in files here, an IWB file. I can bring in a Smart Notebook file if I want. See my screen still?
Yes, we can.
All right, let's go over to the DMS until Easy Write's opening. So with DMS, there's a few things we can do.
Is DMS how you bind the boards, how you add the boards into an account that can be managed by an administrator?
Right, so DMS is for the administrator. Let's see, it's not letting me log in. Okay. So here's DMS. So there's a couple things it can do. So A, you can group all your panels, and once they're grouped, you can then, let's see if I can, that thing keeps popping up on me. So once they're grouped here, you can see which ones are online, which ones are offline. You can see the IP address. If I go over here, I can turn them into standby. I can turn them on. I can switch sources. If I click here to software management, you can see I've got a depository of apps. Chrome, Khan Academy, Nearpod, etc. WebEx, Zoom. So you can load Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams. You can't do the Google Meets. But you can blast those to every panel in the group or groups of panels. You can also remove it from the panels. So when we send it to the panels, we actually send it to the panel and it installs it. The competitors are trying to catch up. They can send it to the panel, but they still have to go to each panel manually and click on it to load it. So that's another big advantage for BenQ. Let's go over to I should have probably clicked on the one that was on. So here you see I can put it in standby, I can switch sources, I can change the volume if the classroom next to us is loud. I could lower the volume, or if they're not getting any sound, or if they're saying, hey, my document camera is not working, you can switch the source over remotely. You don't have to go all the way out to the school. You can check a few things before you go there. So I showed all the apps. Let's see. So if I go here now, I can also go to this AMS. So with AMS, this is where you set up the accounts. You could either do it via Active Directory or a CSV file, or manually do it. But the teachers would get a notification and they accept you're connecting to their Google logins, etc. And then here's where they would put in their headshot, their wallpaper. You can see the apps that they like to use. You can link to the Google Drive, as you see there, or network drives. This is where you manage the NFC cards and equipment management. And we can go over that with the IT people that set it up. But just wanted you to kind of see where you can go to get things. And then this is the broadcast X sign. So over the cloud, I can send messages to every panel or groups of panels. Okay, so there's my panel in the background. So if I click on this, I can actually schedule these, so I can schedule all the panels to go on at a certain time. I'm just going to send out a quick welcome message first. And now you see it up on the panel if you're seeing the video. To get it to stop, I just click here, and then I'll turn it off. So those are some of the remote features. Let's go back to the Easy Write 6 for Windows. So within here, you've got some tools. You've got the ruler, which you can change the size of. You've got a protractor, which you can change the angle. You've got the compass, which obviously you can make a big circle, check out the degrees, that type of thing. Calculator. Countdown timer, stopwatch, scoreboard, randomizer, split screen, which you've seen in the other one. I could pull in an IWB file. Again, as I mentioned, you can open a Smart Notebook file. If I click on this camera here, I don't know if this is going to work because my camera is being used by the webinar, but this could be used as a document camera almost. Well, I could take pictures of it, and I can work, and you'll see a second screen with the camera in it. Let's see, I don't know what that is.
You can even connect a document camera and have it work directly from Easy Write 6. You no longer need a third-party software to make it work.
Okay. So this is This is brand new. There was just an update this morning, so I didn't get a chance to play with it. But those are backgrounds there, shapes, sticky notes. It looks like the record feature is going now, but we don't have the cloud whiteboarding yet. So that's for, and if you don't have the Android 8 to put it onto the laptop, or the teachers want to work on it at home, this Windows 6 is free. If I go here, I think this is it. So I want to save those pages. And now I can open a file. So somebody had sent me this one for attendance. So this is just a smart file. And, you know, this is how they do attendance, is they drag the kid with their name. But that's a smart notebook file, just to show you that you can still use your smart notebook files with the BenQ software.
Presenting this morning to our audience, and we will have a recording of this sent to everyone who registered after the event. Thank you again for all of your time this morning, Bill, Felix, Tommy, and the BenQ team. Thank you again.
Yep. Thanks, guys.